Aaron Meyers, what was your last race in iRacing and how did you finish? Be honest.
My last race was a team endurance race, the GES endurance tour around Monza. So I raced it with 5 to 6 other guys that I helped coach, and we took 14th out of I think 23 or 24.
Awesome. And that's like top split probably, right?
I think we were second split. We had a yeah.
You're still scary good, man. Okay, welcome everybody to the first episode of the Sim Rig Show, where I get to interview people who, like me, obsess over their sim rigs and who are always just one more edition away from being finally done. I'm Dive Bomb, unfortunately, and I'm extremely lucky to have my first guest with me today. This man not only has a 5,000 plus iRating, but also founded Chasing the Delta, the iRacing league, which lets mortals like me get real training and advice from coaches on achieving a 2K iRating. Aaron also has over 6 years of real track experience in MX5s and is currently working on his own spec E46, which he will soon be racing wheel to wheel. I'm resisting the urge to call him Aaron. Aaron Meyers, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, let's talk a little bit about your rig. Your rig is a super solid looking 8020 aluminum profile rig.
Yep.
You have a DIY monitor stand, which is awesome, which I really, really want to learn more about. That's like my favorite thing about sim racing is when people just make their own stuff.
Yeah.
Your wheelbase and wheel setup is a Moza R12 and a GS V2.
Yep.
And the pedals are a Fanatec Club Sport V2.
Yep.
You have the 8020 rig now, but your first rig, that was another DIY setup, right?
Yep.
And it was actually, you told me it was modeled after the cockpit of your MX5.
Yeah. Yep.
Like down to the measurement.
Yes. Yeah.
Dude.
That was the goal of it. Yeah.
Dude, that's so hardcore. That's one of the like that is seriously committed.
Yeah. So
what made you want to do that?
So I built it with a friend of mine. I don't have any welding experience. I don't have the skill set to do it. So kind of a little bit of backstory is I started autocrossing an NC MX5 before I got into sim racing, and driving in real life is fairly expensive. Even autocross can start to pile up pretty quick. So we decided we wanted to get into sim racing, and we wanted to model it as close as possible to the car we were driving. So that way it's kind of a little bit more real world experience, and you get the comfort, and it's just you're practicing how you're going to perform in real life.
Mm-hmm.
So we took measurements of like where the seat ended and how my legs were sitting in the car, where the steering wheel was, and to my chest. And we just took all those measurements and kind of started building it out of square tubing. And it's pretty crazy. It felt like it was a real cockpit. The steering wheel sat right where I wanted it to, and it felt very familiar right out of the gate. That's
incredible. Yeah. How does the actual driving in an MX5 compare to the MX5s in iRacing? Like even if you didn't have that setup where it was like measured completely, that's one thing I've always kind of wondered, because I started in the MX5s like most people, and I still go back to them because they're fun in iRacing, and I just really like that car and that series. So like how does it compare to real life Miata?
I would say it's pretty close. The ND chassis drives a little bit differently than the NC. It has a little bit different drivetrain, but as far as the power goes, it's very close. As far as like the weight distribution and how the car leans and rotates and all those things, it's very close. The biggest difference is those cars are on slicks compared to the 200 treadwears that I normally drive on. So I don't have a good comparison as far as that goes, but I would say sim racing or iRacing's model of the MX5s is like 98% there.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's so cool. All right, I love the commitment though of getting the exact measurements of your real life car.
Yeah, we had talked previously, and I love all the praise for it, and then some other people will say it's a sick obsession. But either way, I'll take it.
We don't worry about those people.
Yeah, yeah.
We don't. Let's talk a little bit about chasing the Delta. Your iRacing league that you started, that I race in for the first. This is my first season in it. But to be completely honest, it's been the best sim racing experience that I've had. Um, and honestly, that puts it right up there with one of the best video game experiences I think you could say that I've had. So obviously, thank you for starting that. And the goal of chasing the Delta is for everyone to advance and get better. And with the sort of loose goal, right, of achieving like a 2K I rating,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
I mean, what makes you want to make your own league and kind of have it be goal driven like that? Like, what led to that?
So the where CTD started out is when I started getting into sim racing, I didn't have anybody to kind of lean on or ask questions to. There wasn't really many resources unless you started digging really, really deep. Um, there's some YouTube videos out there and some kind of how tos and the clickbait stuff, but it just not what I think the community really needed. So where that idea came from for our league is I want to help contribute to the sim racing world in any way that I can. And the best way that I could come up with was to start helping other people with, figuring out how to set iRacing up better, or how to get better car control, or how to maximize how much time you spend and how valuable that time spent in officials or any of the other stuff. But so the other smaller part too is I personally got pretty burnt out on running officials all the time. I just was
Mhm,
chasing that IR goal over and over, and it just became unfun for me. Um,
mhm,
so the league was just another way for me to enjoy sim racing, and
mhm.
it's very rewarding to help everybody out and see those light bulbs turn on, and people start figuring that stuff out, getting faster, getting better at racecraft, more competitive. So it's a win for me, and it's a win for everybody else who's involved too.
I couldn't agree more. And it's kind of fun when you know the people.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
like uh, I don't really think I have any like rivalries or anything like that. Like I'm not the fastest by any means out there, but I mean like I've definitely been in some good battles,
Yeah,
and I've had battles with like the same people a few
right.
times, and that adds like a whole other element to things, you know.
Definitely. You'll hear a lot, or maybe you see on Reddit, a lot of people chase after the leagues because it's the risks aren't as high. So
Yeah,
you can enjoy that time a lot more. And if you get crashed out, it's not the end of the world. You don't lose any of your metrics or ratings or any of that stuff.
yeah,
But on the flip side, racing the same guys week in and week out, like instead of building those rivalries, you build friendly competition and friendly banter, and it just kind of comes back to that community part of it where it's just so much more enjoyable to do.
yeah,
And you also get redemption. Maybe a guy named Joe last week got the better of you, and now this week you have two more chances to try to beat him this week. So it's
yeah,
all in good fun for everybody.
yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like sports when I was younger.
Hmm.
Playing sports, playing basketball and baseball when I was little, and yeah, you would have a sense of, it's like that's how I made a lot of friends, through
Right.
stuff like that, and just this sense that you're there for fun. You're not there on the clock. Um,
Right.
it's nothing that you have to do. Everyone's there because they want to do it.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I was thinking about iRating just now, and it's like I like the league like for the reasons you talked about, because there isn't iRating, but at the
Hmm.
same time, I think iRating is one of the biggest things that keeps pulling me into iRacing.
Right.
Like since I started iRacing, it's been 90% or whatever of my time on the sim. So it's kind of both. I don't know why, but it's like I don't like the idea of having to chase a number
Right.
because I don't necessarily think it means I don't know. To me like how you race and lap times and things like that are kind of the more more accurate metric of like how good you are or whatever. But like that I rating, it's like I am like I don't want
It's
to lose any.
yeah, it's a draw.
Like like I don't know, and it's and I'll be frustrated, man. Like
Yeah.
I'll get mad. Like I'll get mad when
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think that's why it's fun for some reason.
I've always kind of chalked iRacing up to two types of drivers. The guys who use this as a video game and they just enjoy however the races go, and it's just
Mhm.
that was their gaming time for the night or for the week or whatever. And then there's the other set of drivers who have this competitive instinct, and they just it's the best drivers in the world have this urge to prove that they are better than everybody else, and I think that's where some of it comes from for all of us who get like stuck on these metrics.
Yeah,
I'll be the first person to admit I have to prove I'm better than everybody else. And it's that grind that has pushed me to the skill sets and to the level that I'm at. And I think
my first goal is I just wanted to prove that I wasn't the worst. That was
that's a good first goal.
like I was like I'm pretty sure I can be better than somebody.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know it was like I think I can do that. Yeah.
For
And
what it's worth, you're better than a lot of somebody's, I would say.
oh shit, man. I'm having fun. I want to be one of those people that the latter that or the former that you mentioned. I
Yeah.
want to be one of those people that can just go in and be real zen about it
Right.
and have fun no matter what. But I would I have a slight like obsession with statistics.
Right.
Like I don't know why. I want to see good numbers go up and bad numbers go down.
Right.
And like when I learned about Garage 61 and seeing what you could do in there and seeing that it pulled stats and stuff like that and just all the stats that are just in iRacing on the main page in general, I was
Hmm.
just like, oh my god, I'm gonna be so addicted to this. Uh, I was so excited to see your monitor stand because when you agreed to do this first episode, I think I probably mentioned I want to focus on the DIY aspect of sim rigs because I don't know about you, but like I started out just like on my desk
Right.
and I started to think about like, well, I know I'm at a disadvantage, in a lot of ways. And my goal, which to me was almost just as fun as like the game itself, uh, like my game became eliminating those disadvantages, like I was
Hmm.
on a single screen and I knew I had a smaller FOV and I was like,
Right.
okay, well, what's the cheapest way I can quickly get to triples,
Right.
um, so, what led to your monitor stand? People will see it's a welded monitor stand, right?
Yep. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
tell me about that.
So it was built at the same time that first DIY rig that I had that was mocked up, by the Miata. So I definitely didn't want to spend the $400 it costs to get like a really nice 80/20, single monitor or triple monitor stand, whatever it was. And kind of leaning on my friend who had the welding skills. We knew all we needed to do was put some triangles at the bottom, put some uprights up for our square tubing, and some crossbars to hang a monitor on, and it wasn't too much more than that. As far as like designing something like this, it your only limitation is really just the space that you're going to be using in whatever room you have.
Mm-hmm.
So, at the time that this was built, I had my whole rig in my very small, maybe 150 square foot bedroom. I don't know if that's big or not, but it was tiny,
Yeah.
and my bed backed right up to the TV frame. Um, so that was just the space that I had to work with. So for anybody who's looking at doing this themselves, dream big. You can
Yeah.
do whatever you want with it, and watching a couple videos on YouTube and picking up a welder from your local Harbor Freight or maybe
Yeah.
a marketplace trade. This is definitely something that you could put together too. You don't have to be a pro welder. You just need to be able to stick some tubes together and hang
Yeah.
a 10-pound monitor, and you're
Yeah.
good to go.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like you looked at what was out there and it was, hundreds and hundreds of dollars, but you said, nah, like we can do that, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah. Absolutely. That's how I approach it too. What are some of your button mappings that you find yourself using a lot?
I race a lot of endurance races, and most of them are 24 hours. So I'd say the big ones is going to be your pit limiter and light flasher, just
Yeah.
just for the funsies, of course.
Oh, just
um,
for fun, right, Aaron? You're not.
yeah. I would never harass somebody
No,
with my high beams.
wouldn't
Definitely not.
dream of it.
No.
More break talk. Um,
Yeah, that brakes are my favorite.
um, let's see. You have Fanatec Club Sport V2s, right?
Yep. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Um, when you pick out gear, and maybe let's do brakes specifically. What made you decide to go with those? And yeah, like what were you looking for in brakes? Were those the first brake set that you had?
These are my first brakes. Yep. Well, that's a little bit not true. I drove on some Logitech potentiometer pedals for like a couple of weeks, but those just are not. If you want to take sim racing seriously, they're not good enough to be blunt with it. Now, moving on to the Fanatec pedals. So these got chosen one because of the price. Um, I went. The second reason is I went to F1 at Coda in 2019, and these were on demo, and
Yeah.
just the way that the pedal felt was the closest to a real car, in my opinion.
Okay.
Um, so that's reason number two, and then number three is they have so much customizing ability.
Hmm.
You can tinker with the springs, or you can change out the elastomers in the brake pedal. You can move the pedal face over or up and down, or wherever you prefer to have it. So this just made the most sense for me, especially for the cost. I think they were like 280 when I bought them, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
To me, you can't beat the price for how they perform.
Okay. You started real racing about 6 years ago, right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
And sim racing about 3 years ago. Is that
Yep.
accurate?
Yeah.
Um, was it was it other real racers, real guys out on the track with you that were into sim racing? Were you talking about it with them? And also, what's the view of sim racing with guys who are out there in real life on a real track? How do they view sim racing? Is it a silly game? Is it good training? What's the how do they feel about it?
So I'm gonna go back to your first question first. My other coach, Keith Gwinnett with CTD.
Yeah.
So he was good friends with somebody who had gotten into sim racing while we were autocrossing, and he kind of got dragged into it. And it's from both aspects of video game and a simulator to help get better at real life driving. So once he got roped into it, he dragged me along. So that's kind of how I got into iRacing specifically. Um, Now, how real life drivers view sim racing is still kind of a 50-50 thing. The old heads definitely are against sim racing. They don't see any value in it. They view it purely as a video game, and I can understand why to some extent.
Yeah.
But the younger you get on the real life paddock, the more people who are in support of sim racing, or they also have iRacing accounts, or they're part of other leagues. So it's not specifically age dependent, but that seems to be the theme,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Uh, and I mean, I understand that. I mean,
Yeah,
but no one, I don't think most sim racers are thinking. It's like, do you remember Guitar Hero? It's like
of
there were very
course.
few people playing Guitar Hero and Rock Band being like, I think I'm gonna play guitar. I think I could do this, And it's
Right,
like, I know
right,
it's not a one-to-one comparison, but I mean, kind of. No one in sim racing is being like, I'm hitting the track tomorrow. I got this figured out.
right,
I'm good to go.
right.
Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, it's all just perspective, I guess. Or
Yeah,
yeah,
to lean in on it just a little bit more there. iRacing does a great job at giving the opportunity to learn skills that apply in real life.
yeah.
So a lot of times I've driven tracks in iRacing where I've gone and driven them in real life too. And it gives you a great idea as far as directions, where corners are, how to turn into them, and rough markers. But it's not one to one.
Mm,
I've yet to drive a simulator that taught me how to be fast at a real life track.
right. Right.
With that being said, I've driven a few tracks on iRacing in particular where I've also driven it in real life, and you get a good idea as far as like direction changes, where the corners are at, things of that nature. But it doesn't teach you how to be fast at those tracks
Hmm.
necessarily. What iRacing does a really good job of is giving you the opportunity to learn the skills on how to coach yourself, how to be fast, and how to experiment with different techniques. And that is what's made me a faster driver in real life. So, for example, your braking technique of threshold braking, turning the car and rotating the car with the brakes, and how you track the car out, how much steering angle you use, things like that nature. That's where iRacing has really shined as a simulator for
Hmm.
my real world driving. So,
Nice.
yeah,
Awesome. So, Aaron, thank you so much, man. Again, one for creating CTD, awesome league. If you're looking for a league that is just fun and you want to get better, and the emphasis on, with chasing the delta is that exactly.
absolutely.
Look it up and join. But thank you for that, and then also, man, thank you so much for joining me here with this my little experiment. I really appreciate your time that you gave to it.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure chatting with you and kind of going through old memories and whatnot. And thanks for
Yeah.
having me. It was a ton of fun.
Awesome, man. All right, thank you again. Take
Yep.
care.
See ya.